Yes, so it's been a while. Alright, so today I want to talk to you about why I'd advocate for buy your fuel as you go. Now, in the past, I've always been a very big believer of buy all the fuel that you're going to need for the entire day once, and then, go into the work up until the fuel finishes. And I practiced that for a long, long time. However, this very one event I can never forget. It was on a Sunday. I'd gone out, my tank full, almost to the brim, never to the brim. So it was like 6 p.m. This was on a Sunday. So it was like 6 p.m. and normally by that time, what is left in the tank is like 1/4 of the entire, tank capacity. So, but what I still had was like half tank. So it was a very, very slow day, right? And it kind of put me in a pickle because I was also, this whole arrangement was because I was able to tell specifically what I needed to take out for fuel, or what I can say my expenditure for fuel was. That's why I put in a particular amount and I make sure I don't come home until that amount is finished. Like, it's not like by force, but generally that's just how the day goes. In fact, many times after I've put in all the amount I may be needing, sometimes I may need to top up just a tad to finish up the day, like 5k tad, right? However, on this particular day, I was still having a half tank and it was already evening. It was a very, very slow day. Okay, so I was dragging my feet. I mean, I couldn't come back home because the moment I come back home, it's very confusing for me how to calculate. So how much fuel did I really spend, right? So that was where my issue was. And there's this thing, I don't know if other people experience it in their car, the fuel gauge, sometimes you start driving and it's not that up. Maybe it's like in 1/4 or 1/4. And then a little bit, maybe when you get to the express, it goes up a little bit, you know? And so it makes me very confused, like, okay, do I have a half tank properly, or do I have like almost half tank? Because now I know how much it is I need to put in the tank to make it a half tank, but I don't know what it is to put in the tank to make it almost half. So it weighs on my calculation, my general calculation, because I like to know how much fuel I used and how much did that fuel bring for me as a profit. It helps me understand how profitable I have been for that work day. Okay, so hence my issue. So on that particular day, I remember it was already 11 and I was like, bruh, we die here. 11 p.m. by mind you. I was like, I'm not going anywhere, okay? Those customers will come, and what I had made for the day was pretty stupid. This was not recent, by the way. This season is not, it's all about the goodies and all the best trips that you could ever have, but this was a while back, not this year even. So, after that day, I still could not finish that for that day. I still could not. It was so annoying. So, and then I drove home, and the next day was like, so can we say I used, let's say 30k worth of fuel, but like 15k is still left in the tank? Okay, but if it's 15k, I should be able to use 15k throughout the week work day, like the weekday work. But then I go out for the weekday and it looks like, yeah, it's not going to be enough. So you see that the calculation is all wobbly at this point, right? So that was when the whole system changed for me, wherein I start the day with 20k, okay? 20k into the tank, come what may. Good day, bad day, dry day, wet, well, there's no wet day. Busy day, no busy day, I start the day with a 20k, right? And then going forward, I put in another 15, I put in another 10, sometimes finish up with a 5, sometimes the 10 is enough. So ultimately, it still comes around 40, 45, sometimes 47, sometimes, things like that. Like, it still plays around the same amount that I use when I was filling up my tank from the beginning. All right, but it's just safer because there have been some days wherein obviously I just used 38k worth of fuel because it was a dry day. There was no point trying to fill up, put more fuel in the tank when there are no customers, right? So it helps me understand, okay, this is how much I spent on fuel and this is how much. I never just like buy fuel and then go home and yeah, I'm going to use it for the next day, except I'm very close to the house. So this fuel thing is very tricky. So that's the idea. That's the idea. That's why I strongly advocate for that. It could be different for you, but the entire thing about this business is understanding your fuel usage, because the fuel, I think, is the biggest expenditure you're ever going to make as far as the business is concerned, unless you have a very bad car, obviously. But as far as the business is concerned, on your day-to-day work day, your biggest expense is always going to be your fuel. So it's very, very good that you have a hands-on understanding of what it is exactly to the T. What did you spend? What did you make from what you spent? Otherwise, you will just be going in circles. You have a lot of money go through your account and never anything in there. All right. So that's what I have for you today. I'm going to see you in the next.